So, hello, Liz. Good morning.
Hello,
Um,
Gavin.
Thank you for joining me.
Not at all.
So, Liz, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you are in the world.
Well, I'm in London. I was born in Bristol and I used to see clients between Bristol and London, but I've been in London now for the last 14 years. So I really only work in London and I work on Zoom.
Oh, right. And with Zoom therapy, do you find that clients are a bit reticent about that? They have concerns as to whether it works or not?
No, because a lot of my clients are in Australia, they're in America, and some different places in Europe. So I have to be able to work with them on Zoom. I think at the beginning, going back to pre-COVID, I sort of thought, oh, I don't know if I can do this on Zoom. But when you have to do it, you learn to do it.
That's right.
And as a consequence, I've been working on Zoom with no problems ever since. I
Mm.
mean, I do prefer face to face. If I get the chance, I would prefer to work face to face.
I think some clients have a feeling that they might miss out on something by not being in person.
But that can be people that aren't very experienced. People that are used to meditating can just go into it whenever.
Yeah.
So it's really not a problem.
And you mentioned that you've been doing that since COVID. A lot of us had to change our working
Yeah.
practices since then. But your experience is of many years predating that.
Oh, yeah. I've been doing this for, I'm coming up to 21 years now. Um, and up until COVID, I did usually work face to face, but I occasionally, because I was working with America and Australia, I had to work on Zoom. But I did find COVID actually taught me to work on Zoom because I had no choice.
Mm, mm.
Um, but everybody's different. Everybody gets different things, and some people want to work on Zoom because they want to be in their own home. They want to relax in their own home, and it suits them. Other people want to come because they want to feel almost the protection of doing it with a therapist in front of them.
And how did you find your way into the world of hypnotherapy?
But I started sitting in circles and I started doing a clairvoyant course with somebody. So bit by bit, I got more and more interested. So as a result of that, I decided I had to train in hypnosis. And also I was told by a very well-known medium in Bristol what I had to do, and it felt right. So I trained in hypnosis, but I really trained in past life regression. I was never interested in what I call bog standard hypnosis, reading a script at somebody. No, that doesn't sort the problem out. I wanted to work in a way that I could dig to the root cause of the problem. And at that time, my answer to that was doing past life regression. I
Mm.
do a lot of this life regression and I do a lot of past life regression. And I combine a lot of that work depending on what I'm working with. If somebody's got a phobia, for example, that's usually past life stuff. Somebody got asthma, that's usually past life stuff. But if somebody is suffering from anxiety or depression, then you're dealing with childhood issues. So sometimes you combine the lot together. Now, phobias are often caused by unresolved anger issues.
Mhm.
So, for example, let's say somebody fell off a ship. They would be angry at the person who could have pushed them off or they thought pushed them off. They'd be angry at the ship and they'd be angry at themselves. So you have to deal with the anger and you have to deal with the forgiveness. Everything to do this work is fundamentally about forgiveness. So a classic example, let's say they've never got on with their brother-in-law in this life. You take them into a past life and they find that they're being pushed underwater by the person who they recognize as their brother-in-law in this life. We then do the forgiveness. We pull them out of the water because it's a soul fragment that's stuck underneath the water. This is always about soul fragments. So you're bringing the soul fragment back. You're collecting the soul fragment. You're forgiving it. And by the time you wake them up, they've no longer got a fear of water. And they probably say, oh, I quite like my brother-in-law now because you've done the forgiveness and you've cleared the negative energy.
Book, which let's show people. There's a book, Finding the Light by Liz Vincent, and Um, it's available on Amazon. I can't remember the price, but I'll put up a link for it. Well, that was something else that you write about beautifully in here is the oaths and vows. And I know
Yeah.
From my own hypnotherapy work and many people that I work with, whether they're hypnotherapists or whether they are Reiki practitioners or of another spiritual uh, tradition, um, the release of oaths and vows is really crucial.
Fundamental. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is about releasing oaths and vows. We say to people, I will love you forever. I will always look after you. I will always be your partner. I will always find you. And what happens is the reason we bring people into our current lives is because we've made oaths and vows with a lot of them that we would meet up. Okay, we make agreements in the spirit world as well. I'm not saying that's all of it. But unless we release the oaths and vows that we are holding on to in a negative way, we can't move forward. I can give you an example. I remember years ago, a couple came to see me when I was living and working in Bristol. And they said, we love one another. We're married, but we are ready to move on. We both have new partners, but it's like there's an invisible elastic band that constantly brings us back together. Neither our partners are happy about it. We're not happy about it. What can we do? So I worked with them separately, and they had made an oath and a vow that they would love one another forever and they would always be together. So once they released the oaths and the vows, and sometimes it's just you're working with one person and they release them, so that other person was sort of freed. But in this particular case, I was working with husband and wife. So once we released the oaths and vows from every level, from every dimension, from every lifetime, then they were free. They both moved on and they were happy. Tie cutting is very important. Unless you release the oaths and vows, you will not help that person to move on. It's the same. Sometimes women can't get into a sexual relationship, and you take them into a past life where they're a nun and they've made a vow to be a bride of Christ. Well, one of the reasons they're not getting relationships that work in this life is because on a deeper level, they believe they're married to Christ. Monks can be the same because they made vows of celibacy, which is why they can't perhaps perform in this life. A lot of stuff needs to be cleared through oaths and vows. In fact, it's fundamental. Because to move on, you have to forgive everything, but you have to make sure you release all the oaths and vows. And it's a way of taking your power back, knowing you're standing in your own power, and just moving forward, which you can't do if you've got energies with you that are stopping you from moving forward.
Like barnacles slowing up the progress of the ship. We've been talking a lot about the past as a concept, but there's a lot in your future at the moment. We know that your book is called Finding the Light, but you actually have a course that you teach, either live in person or sometimes on Zoom, that is also called Finding the Light. And there's exciting things happening with that. So would you like to tell us a little bit about, or first of all, about the course, and there might be therapists watching this, why they would find it useful for them, and then secondly, the news about its
spreading.
Yeah.
Well, the course actually I ended up writing during COVID because I was bored, and I started writing a blog about past life regression, and then I ended up going into inner child, then I ended up going to spirit release. So the course covers a lot. It's actually on the website under Finding the Light. If you look on my website, it talks about the course. So there's quite a lot of details about what the course is about. You do get a Finding the Light qualification. Now, what happened recently, I've been working with a girl from Kuwait, and she said she wanted to come and see me as a client to see if she wanted to do the course because she needed to understand. This was about a year ago now. And so I did some work with her, and she said she wanted to do the course. I then taught her And she's been using my methods ever since. She doesn't use what she was taught with hypnosis. She uses my methods, which is great. She's a very good, very intelligent girl from Kuwait. And she's gradually building up her practice using my methods in Kuwait. She's actually getting quite well known. Well, she said to me the other day, how would I feel if she translated my course into Arabic and taught it? And I said, great. So where we are now, she's going to translate the course into Arabic, teach people in places like UAE, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and obviously in Kuwait. I'm probably going to go over sort of just to help her, just to sort of support the whole situation. But it does mean that the course, and hopefully it's helping women to take their power back in the Middle East. So that's where the course is going. I've taught some people in America, I've taught some people in Australia and Canada, actually, I've forgotten about that. And they do use my methods. But I also do it as a 3-day course in London, which is sort of 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock. And we go through everything. I do demonstrations of past life regression, inner child work, spirit release, whatever needs to come up. And we do a very intense 3-day course. And then after about 2 months or 3 months, depending on the people, they come back and we do what I call a refresher day. I think it can help people to look at past life regression from a different angle.
If you do go to the UAE to help set this up or teach with us, perhaps you'll come back and tell us more about that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thanks very much, Liz, for a really interesting chat this morning.
Thank you.
About all of your work, past and present, and what you're looking forward to in the future as well. So, well, thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Not at all. Thank you.
Bye for the moment.
Bye.
Hello, and thank you for visiting the Past Life Therapists Association YouTube channel. If you'd like to know more about past life regression or to join the association, then go to the website www.pastliferegression.co.uk. Thank you.